This might be the only episode in this channel where we don't talk about food. Instead, we will talk about songs, specifically Cantonese songs, yuet. I swear it's related though. Hi, my name is Christy and this is the American Chinese Food Show. Traditional Chinese oral performing arts, Quyi, have over 300 regional genres including ballad singing, storytelling, comic dialogues, clapper talks, and more. The Cantonese regional genre is called Cantonese narrative singing. It includes Mo Yu, tempo block, Nam Yam, the southern sound, Ban Yan, a vulgar comedy sung for popular entertainment, Long Zhao, dragon boat, derived from promotional street performances for shops, and lastly, yuet, Cantonese songs. Cantonese songs started in the Pearl River Delta in the Qing dynasty. These ballads were originally created by prostitutes working on pleasure boats or brothels. They played the songs with a pipa, a Chinese flute, about yearning, heartbreaks, and despair in front of the patrons, many of whom were literati. The patrons edited and polished the songs into a more elegant form now known as yuet. That's why they are written in colloquial Cantonese, but at the same time very poetic. This art form was later mostly performed by blind artists, just like all the other Cantonese narrative singing. The first collection of these Cantonese song ballads were published in 1821. The book was named yuet, hence the name of this art form. As more blind artists retired after the Second World War, this art form is now lost. The last recording of yuet was made in the 1980s, and this is the recording you've been listening to, the Peach Blossom Fan. So, why am I talking about Cantonese narrative singing? Because I saw it on a menu, and menu analysis is what we do here in this channel. The menu is from the Moon Cafe around the 1930s. It was located at 675 Jackson Street in San Francisco. The Chinese name of the restaurant is actually Drunken Moon. These two words appear in many pre-modern Chinese poems. It means getting drunk, looking at the moon, usually thinking about someone, mourning the loss of something, or worrying about the future of the kingdom or the country. The Moon Cafe menu is very special because at the back of the menu there are lyrics to a yuet Cantonese song written specifically for the restaurant. It is part of a historically significant art form in the Canton region, spreading all the way to the United States, that is now lost. I have to share it with you all. This is my translations. This building, Drunken Moon, is a good name. It sure is fitting. Mister, you listen carefully. The dining room is elegant and clean. It's almost like a paradise. The windows and the desks are clear. How pious! Create delicacies and culinary delights because of the high quality. It's more particular than Su Shi's recipe and Lu Yu's, the classic of tea. Superior chefs selected and hired specifically. Yi season, you can criticize however you want. The waitresses, every single one is decent and composed. Proper service, she even tenderly says in a soft voice. Mister, the moon is pale and the wind is cool. Where is a good location to admire the scenery? Why not drink under the moon, passing cups to grow our affection? Let's hold hands and go upstairs, order the food. Slowly and leisurely drink our wine. Carefully pour our words out. See a full house of distinguished guests, so happy. Express our sentiments together. Though left our homeland, but bustling with excitement and wine, it is enough to comfort us overseas drifters. To me, this Cantonese song expresses the aspirations of the owner of the restaurant, how he envisioned the guests to enjoy the food, people, and the atmosphere, in a manner similar to how literati did back in the days. A concept first started in the Song dynasty, where scholars expressed their personal feelings through art forms like poetry and paintings, and with a lot of alcohol. The Moon Cafe Cantonese song quoted three famous names. More particular than Su Shi's recipe. Su Shi is regarded as one of the most important figures in classical Chinese literature. He was a poet, a calligrapher, politician, and gastronomer. He was credited with inventing Dongpo pork, a famous Hangzhou dish. More particular than Lu Yu's The Classic of Tea. Lu Yu was a Chinese tea master and writer. He is seen as the sage of tea for his contribution to the Chinese tea culture with his book The Classic of Tea, written around the year 760 in the Tang Dynasty, the first definitive work on cultivating, making, and drinking tea. Yi season. You can criticize however you want. Yi is a chef from the spring and autumn period in about 500 BC who's famous for distinguishing taste. The king he was serving one day said he'd never tasted human flesh, so Yi killed his own son to make a dish for the king. The Cantonese song also quoted three famous pre-modern poems. Ouyang Sou's The Drunkard Pavilion Records, Su Shi's Ode to the Red Cliff in the Song Dynasty, and Li Bai's preface for A Spring Evening Banquet with Cousins in a Peach Plum Garden in the Tang Dynasty. These poems add to the visualization of what the song is trying to say. It really makes me wonder who the owner of the Moon Cafe is. He must be a well-educated man who enjoyed poems and songs, and enjoyed it so much he wanted his restaurant to manifest his love for it. Sadly, I couldn't find any more information on him or the restaurant. Speaking of Cantonese folk art, one of the largest collections of Cantonese folk rhyme writings ever published was also from around the same time as the Moon Cafe, and also in San Francisco, with 1,640 entries published in two anthologies in 1911 and 1915. The songs of Gold Mountain covered a wide variety of everyday life topics such as immigration, hardship, frustration with the American bureaucracy, poverty, sex, and homesickness in America. The preface talks about the format of the songs. Each has to have exactly 46 words, rhymes in Cantonese. It should be moving. It's best if women and children can easily recite. It should be colloquial, just like yuet. With this comparison, it shows us yuet was common in San Francisco in the early 20th century as well. There's always an element of music in the restaurant industry in Chinatowns in the United States back in the days. Restaurant patrons would go to the Chinese opera after dinner and go back to the restaurant for a late night snack at the end of the show. But this is the first time I ever saw such a direct connection between the two, a writing of a Cantonese song yuet for a restaurant. I find it poetic how the owner of the Moon Cafe wanted to recreate that culturally rich and sophisticated atmosphere, and here we are reminiscing the bygone time that he was in the 1930s. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoy some of the music showcased. If you like our content, please subscribe to our channel. See you soon.